have a dog with me, so if you hear him, he's down there. I've never done a video like this before, but you know, change is good. Okay, so I am in no way, shape or form qualified to talk about these sort of things like I know what I'm talking about. However, I do have opinions, and I am an avid reader, so yep. Let's talk about books. I have a lot of things I can say, and I will say. I have a lot of opinions when it comes to books. So here are a few things that I absolutely hate. I detest. Are they tropes? Is this what's defined as a trope? I really don't know. But these are just a few things in books that I cannot stand and I hate. Let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with a good one, which is love triangles. There has never been a love triangle that I've supported 100%. I can't think of a single one. I think actually, you know what, maybe in the Hunger Games, but then Katniss was never really torn between Peeta and Gale. Like, Gale was her best friend, and they had a few kisses here and there. At least they did in the movies. I can't remember the books. I didn't actually finish Mockingjay, which was a mistake, but I will one day get back to it. I might just reread the whole series someday, but anyway. But no, I feel like in terms of love triangles, it wasn't the worst. I've never been a Peeta fan. I never really liked Peeta, to be perfectly honest. I did not like movie Peeta. I just... Peeta bread. But love triangles, why are they still a thing? I mean, really. Because when you think about it, it's basically just cheating. Number one, it's not wanting to commit to just one person. But if you're going around kissing like two boys, it's essentially cheating. You're cheating on one. If you kissed one first and then you kiss another, but you're keeping them interested in you, you're not just fully saying, look, nothing's ever going to happen between us. You keep leading these boys on. Or girls, or whatever. You know, I'm saying it as if it's always the girl in the middle. Sometimes it could be a boy in the middle. I don't know if I can think of a single one where a boy's in the middle. But no, love triangles, it's just... Maybe if it's done well, and it has a satisfying ending and not just one person being disappointed and basically being told to deal with it, because kind of like Taylor Lautner. I forgot his real name. Jacob and Sons. Was he Jacob? I forgot his name! The Twilight Boy, the wolf. Taylor Lautner. Jacob Black. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. I mean, he basically was led on by Bella. I mean, was he though? He was obsessed with her. And then when he couldn't have her, he decided to go for her child. So, I mean, bestiality and a pedo. I have a lot of issues with love triangles. It's just being greedy. Like, make your mind up. Or just don't bother with anybody. This love triangle left us in a rectangle. What else can I say? It was fun for a while. Bet I really would have loved your smile. Didn't really want to abort. But no, love triangles, I just feel like it's done. It's overplayed. Twilight did it. The Hunger Games sort of did it. Could you imagine if Harry Potter was a full-on love triangle between Harry and Ron competing for Hermione's affections? That would have killed it. It would have killed the lovely friendship we had between the three of them. Like, I feel like it's okay if two characters are in love with each other at one point, but then they move on from that and somebody else falls in love with them. It doesn't have to be a love triangle. It doesn't. People fall out of love with each other. You could fancy somebody 1 minute and then by next week you've moved on. You like somebody else. It happens. Also as well, like, who would actually be that in love with someone and someone else is clearly competing for their affections? Would you not just back down and be like, okay man, you know, she's yours. You have her. I couldn't be bothered competing. Have some self-respect. And that's it. That's the whole video. Love triangles. Hate them. On the kind of same wavelength of love triangles, the second thing I hate in books and movies, we might as well include movies in that, any kind of fictional thing, unnecessary romance. And what I mean by that is when the author is shoving two characters together that have no real connection whatsoever. They've maybe interacted a couple of times, and in those interactions it was just your basic kind of hello, how are you, goodbye. But then somehow they end up together because secretly they're in love with each other or some shit. I was reading, what book was it? The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. That book was ruined for me by the unnecessary romance between the main character and the gardener. I could not stand that book because of the unnecessary romance. Like, it completely took over from the story at one point. And I felt no connection between these two characters, and suddenly they were in love, and it was like, it's only been like a month. What the hell's going on here? What is happening? I hate that. I hate unnecessary romance. I hate it. But I can't deal with unnecessary romance. If I want to read a romance novel, I will read a romance novel. And if I don't like the characters, I don't like the characters. But if I'm reading something like a mystery or a nice thriller, and then you're throwing these two characters together. Now, if the connection is there, I'm with it. If I love the characters and I'm shipping it, I'm there. I'm sold kind of thing, you know? But if it feels forced and it adds nothing to the plot except to just spice it up a bit and to include like some smutty scenes, I'm like, no, I ain't here for that. I ain't here for it. And if you want to push these two characters together, maybe they want to be like friends with benefits or whatever, it's like, yeah, do that, but don't have them fall in love, because that doesn't always happen. We as people are soulless. We don't fall in love within like a week. No. Number 3. Is it your left hand or is it your right hand? Number 3. Stories that get off to a very slow start and then the climax is rushed. You know those books that you read and you're waiting for something to happen, and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and you're about 10 pages from the end and all of a sudden everything happens and it's like, oh my god, this person's hurt, this person's the bad guy, oh my god. And then the last page is like, and they all lived happily ever after. I ain't here for it. I ain't here for it. I cannot stand, okay, I don't mind if a book get off to a slow start and like the first 100 pages or so is just mundane, everyday life. These are our characters, this is what they're into, this is what they're like, this is what they do, blah blah blah. And if the first 100 pages or so is just setting the scene, okay, that is absolutely fine. But if your whole book, or at least 3/4 of that book, is just pure dull nothingness, but then your last 50 pages or so, everything kicks off. I can't remember what book I was reading. Oh, I know what it was. Next Girl to Die. I can't even remember who wrote it. I was reading Next Girl to Die. I did a review on it, and everything was... It was quite a gripping book, and yeah, I'll admit, you know, like, I'm not saying it had a slow start or anything. It had a pretty good pace throughout, and then when they discovered who the killer was, it all happened in like 10 pages or less. That kind of discovering who the killer was, that kind of final confrontation, and then the ending had about 10 pages. And I was like, are you joking me? Like, I was nearing the end of the book, and I was kind of flicking through it, and I was like, there's only like 10 pages to go. What? What's happening? And it all kicked off. It just all kicked off. Everything was so rushed. This happened, that happened, this person did this, and then this person did that, but everything was fine. We're all okay, and now we're at the end, and they all lived happily ever after. I ain't here for that. I ain't here for it. Okay. So I also don't, this will be my 4th point, okay? But I hate over detailed books. I hate when things are described in such vast detail that literally everything is described to you. I'm like, and that's what makes a book massive. Like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is huge because everything is detailed to beyond perfection. George R.R. Martin's world building skills are impeccable. There's a word to use on a Wednesday afternoon, but it's impeccable. Am I using that in the right term? I don't know. He will describe everything from the outfits to what the scenery looks like, to the castles, to the little buildings, the animals. Round of applause for George. Outstanding. However, this does also mean I get a little bit bored from time to time. In the last book I read, from A Song of Ice and Fire, I can't even remember now what one it was. Was it A Feast for Crows? I don't think it was. Storm of Swords, I think. I took a while to read it, and then when I did finally get around to reading it, and I was like, this book, what really happened in it? What really happened? I remember at one point, a chapter, one of Sansa's chapters was her leaving the Vale, you know, the Vale up here, and she was coming down a mountain with like a small party of people, and about 20 pages was used to describe this descent from the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. And I feel like you could describe it, so to speak. You could talk about it in a way that only uses a couple of pages. You know, you could describe how treacherous it was, how hard she had to comfort the kid, what's his name, Robin? Robin Aaron, that little annoying kid. She was having to kind of comfort him at one point. They thought they were gonna fall at one point, but it took 20 pages to describe this descent. And I was talking to me, I was like going through it and I was like, we're not even at the bottom yet. Like, what? And then lately I've been reading Lord of the Rings and it's so much different. Like, their journey is described so much quicker, but still with the same details. So you're not getting bored, but you know exactly what's happening. You have enough detail to know where they've been, what they're doing, what way they're going, which is fab. I much prefer that. But that's my fourth point, is too much detail in books, because there is such a thing as too much. I will admit though, detailing is something I need to work on as a writer, as an aspiring author. Whenever I write though, I know I need to work, like I'll write something out really quickly if I've got ideas, I'll just write them and then I'll go back and that's when I'll like add all my details and describing everything. But that's something I need to work on. I know that. But like I said, there is such a thing as too much detail. Anybody else agree? Just me? So backtracking to like my third and my fourth point, because they kind of coincide a little because they're opposites, but slow pacing and then a sudden really quick fast paced ending, just no. And over detailing, Okay, so I forgot to film the last trope. I took a break when my dad came in so that we could have a lunch, and I completely forgot to do it, and I was just editing there and I was just editing the footage, and I got to the fourth and I stopped. So I'm definitely going to make like a part 2 to this where I've thought everything out, because I've just been rambling off the top of my head these last 4 tropes. Are they even tropes? I still haven't figured out if that's the right term to use or not. My hair's wild because I've been out for a walk with the dog as well and it's a little bit windy. The last trope that I'm going to discuss, which I hate, the chosen one trope. Now, this can be taken into a lot of different contexts. So for example, you could have like your chosen one is like your Harry Potter character, he's the chosen one. Or even just a character that's the main character but they're beloved by everyone, and no matter what happens they're the one that finds a way through it, and maybe they have special powers they didn't know they had. They somehow save the day, and I don't know, I feel like perhaps I'm guilty of it, like creating a character and when you love them and you make all your other characters love them and then you realise that's not realistic, that's just not, nah. But I don't know, the whole chosen one thing, I feel like it could be done so differently. Like if a character thinks they're the chosen one but then it turns out that they're actually not, on someone else's. Like imagine if in Harry Potter, if after everything Harry went through, the chosen one turned out to be Neville. That would have been the best. I think I've read that before, but I feel like that theory is such a good idea, and I would just love to see a different take on the chosen one. But I definitely do now get so sick and tired of like a main character that can do no wrong and they have all the answers and they fix all the problems because the plot calls for it. This is a bit of a ramble. I could make a whole video on this, but I just wanted to quickly throw this in here while I was editing because I completely forgot. So yeah, but I'm definitely going to make more videos on these, like maybe more tropes and things I don't like in books that I probably have forgotten all about, because like I said, I was just doing this off the top of my head and I was just saying whatever came to my mind, so yeah. But I'll definitely do more of these, I think, and maybe things that I love, because there are stuff in books that I love. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching this little weird rant video, and I shall see you in the next one. Oh, there's a plane in the sky. The sky looks so pretty outside. It looks so nice. Very nice.